As part of the course of public administration, today we are discussing paper 1, Introduction to the Public Administration. In that, the course is Globalization and Public Administration. We are going to discuss about the globalization and public administration. I am Professor Y. Parthasarathi, Head Department of Public Policy and Public Administration, Central University of Jammu. Friends, we are listening every day the word called globalization. It's appearing in the newspapers, it's appearing in the TV channels, it's appearing in the discussions, it's appearing in the trade union people, it's appearing in the opposition parties and the ruling parties, it's appearing in the stock markets and the economics. Wherever you go, this word of the globalization has become a common. Today, our basic objective of our lecture is to understand what are the characteristics of the globalization and its phenomenon, and what are the components of the globalization process, and how does we can relate to the history to the comparative systems of our administration, and what are the pros and cons of globalization on administration and the society. So we'll try to identify these are the important objectives in our today's discussion part of this lecture. Fine, this globalization, what is it? Is it a new? Is it happening only just because of the 2000 onwards, and from last 14-15 years are we observing or experiencing globalization? Generally the people are thinking, a good number of the people are thinking globalization is a new phenomenon. But according to our point, globalization is not a new phenomenon. It's a long time coming. You take once upon a time in the history, you refer to the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire dominated the world and occupied all these things. You take the history that Genghis Khan, he started about operating and taking over up to the Europe and Asia and other countries and under his control. So one person occupying from one country to one continent and etc., the rule, authority is expanding. It's a part of the globalization. So there was whenever we discuss that, there were early globalization is different, and at present whatever the globalization we are doing is different. We are experimenting or we are experiencing is different. Once upon a time, the globalization was different. It was like, you take about Christopher Columbus. He went from the Portugal to the, we see in identifying the India and other parts, even to the, at present, whatever we are calling West Indies he called. What were that? There were two important objectives for him at that time. So whenever we talk globalization, generally the people start about the Christopher Columbus and his activity of the, one of the important area, 1492 to 1800, they call 1.0 globalization, or they call first globalization. Review about the past history, we talk that. What was the Christopher Columbus' important aspect? He tried at the time the important aspect of the searching of a hardware. What are the hardware? The word of computer word hardware. He wants the precious metals, he wants the silk, and he wants the spices, and they were the source of the wealth on the day. So the globalization, the first part was this one. Columbus was searching for the precious metals of a gold or a diamond, of a silk clothing, and the important aspect of the spices to protect the meat in particularly sometimes. Whereas now we are searching for a different type in the globalization. We are searching for softwares, brain power and complex algorithms and knowledge workers, call centers, transmission protocols, optical engineering systems. We are searching for a different type of a wealth. The wealth at the time was different. The wealth we are talking about is different in the globalization. Okay, what were the key elements then and now? The key elements then was a steam engine. The key elements then and after that was a telephonic transmission identifying something. Key elements then was just the starting of a consumerism. The people are going to a market and buying, identifying a product and experiencing and keeping that. It was started at that time. Now it's different. Now you have dominated by a technology. You are dominated by the fast and speed transport systems. Containers of things are going on all over the oceans from one country to another country. They are identifying about the cheapest item somewhere in Papua New Guinea and bringing and selling in Hyderabad within 2 days or 3 days. It has changed about all type of things compared with that globalization and these globalization. Let's briefly we'll see what were the globalization 1, globalization. Now we have to globalization 1, globalization 2, globalization 3. We are facing globalization 3. The globalization 1 was started between, according to some of the literature, 1492 to 1800. Take Columbus and his talk first, and to 1800, where the industrial revolution has started and the rest of things are taking place. There were the primary questions was identifying countries, identifying continents, linking the continents and the countries with various routes, identify. A globalism started like that. What are the continental? We say Vasco da Gama was great. We'll say Marco Polo was great. Say Christopher Columbus was great because they identified some other new countries and started routing from one to other places. Identifying the naval routes, etc., etc. The people are coming from China by walk on donkeys and other things to India to identify something. So, etc. This was also a globalization. The globalization 2 is different. It started from 1800 to 2000. We have seen a Great Depression. We have seen about 2 important world wars. We are seeing about a multinational, transnational companies that started coming up from one country to another country. East India Company started by the Britishers and coming here and started occupying the power. A different type of things are started in the globalization 2, where we saw the birth and maturation of a global phenomena. And from where my country linked of a globalization to where my company is linked to globalization are not started in the second phase. What is the stock markets? Whether the stock market is updated about the New York stock market, Hong Kong stock market, or Bombay stock market only. What exactly? Where is my company? How it is global? This was a discussion in the second part of the globalization case. Come to the globalization 3, 2000 onwards to now. This is a globalization 3. Here it's the company to individual. The country 1, company 2. Now whether individual is a globalized, how can we the individual is a globalized? Simple. You are buying a mineral water developed by a Coca-Cola company in the name of Kinley, or in the Pepsi company by some other thing, or other company they are selling about a Reliance company or Tata company selling Ganga water, whatever it is. Each and every individual and his everyday using items are processed on the same system which accepted at global level. Water is processed. Food is processed. Now we'll say KFCs are open, McDonald's are open, some other things are open all over the country, all over the world. So like that, each and every individual and his activities are globalized. The same with administration. What is the impact? Why we are talking about this globalization? Its impact on administration. We are talking governance. What are the governance indicators? What are the human development indicators? What is the level of each and every person using the power? What is the level of each and every person in his links to the internet and his connectivity? How much time it was using? Once upon a time, we are going to measure the development based on the power units you are using every day. What type of things now we are talking about, how much internet activity he is using, whether he is connected or not. Governments are saying, the people, different type of political parties are saying that we are going to give internet connectivity to your house. So, etc., you talk about. At present, the globalization 3 concentrating on the human being, person level, each and every activity. We talk governance indicators at the international level, democratic levels, voting rights, legislative functioning, judiciary rights. What are things are happening? Then we, based on that governance indicators, we come to a different aspect of it. Yes, this country stands here. Human development indicators. What is the poverty levels? What is the per capita income? What is the gross national income, gross national products, and how it is distributed? We have a method of that. And you are taking each and every individual into that. This is called about another important aspect of the globalization. So now we are in globalization 3. What are the impacts of it and how it is going to affect on administrative system? Just we'll see now. In this Whatever the 3.0 globalization or process globalization, I will read out an important definition of it given by the Thomas Friedman. His book is The World is Flat, which is dominated in the world and sold of millions of copies. So he says a simple analysis is the ability to click, connect and collaborate. The simple understanding of the present globalization is the ability to click, connect and collaborate. But he has expanded this definition and he says the inexorable integration of markets, nation states and technologies to a degree never witnessed before, in a way that is enabling individuals, corporations and nation states to reach around the world further, faster, deeper and cheaper than ever before, and in a way that is also producing a powerful backlash from those brutalized or left behind by this new system. Globalization means the spread of free market capitalism to virtually every country in the world. So now it is a very clear in the process globalization, we are also witnessing about that it's a free market globalization. Some of the companies are buying the items near about 130 countries and selling about only 110 countries. The tamarind is very cheap in a particular district of Vijayanagaram and Srikakulam. They will pick up it from there and sell it in New York. And something is very cheap in the West Indies, they will bring it and sell it in Hyderabad. So these type of things are started about. It's as said, inexorable integration of the various markets. This is the present part of the globalization system. And what are the important components of globalization? Now, the first important point is the broad category is information. The globalization is dominating us information. Because of dispersal of the news instant by the satellite TVs, internets, fax, now cell phones, WhatsApps, you talk anything, Skype, Twitter, Facebook, whatever things are happening in all over the world, within a seconds and minutes, it's reaching to each and every place in the world. It means it's very hard to keep a secret. It's open. This is the first important aspect. A lot of information you are thinking it's a secret. WikiLeaks, they brought down even what is the secret files of the White House. And happening between the one country to another country. And they are showing that how much of black money each person is having, whether it's Switzerland and other parts of the world, and marriages and other part of the world. So you can't hide a secret. Now it's information is open in a transparent world. Another important broad category is culture. A different type of increasingly a world is becoming a global village. A global village is a Western one watching the same TV in his country. You can also the same TV in India, also in other place. Whether it is TV or a music or a soaps or a radio or a news, papers, journals, books, online things, everything is become, once upon a time to identify a book and go for a chapter and a reading of it is taking about months together, years together also to get a copy. And now it's a matter of 5 minutes you will get it of the different type of things. It's coming of a rise of a global language and its impact on the local cultures and the local things are happening. And the broad categories, another was environment and health. And global environment problems are coming negatively. Ozone problem we are facing about, the global warming we are facing about, the melting of the ice because of the seas are rising up and different type of things are happening. Some countries are becoming day by day famine affected and drought affected and out, like Somalia is completely, the whole forests were cut by the people. There was nothing is there. There was no state, no government, a state without a government, etc., happening in the various parts of the world. You are having the problems called about a globalized diseases also. You have what you can call a bird flu, you have a AIDS, you have a Ebola, you have a different type of things. They have become a worldwide phenomenon now. Immediately, because of the fast transformation of the transport of the people, they are also coming along with the people and going to all over the world. So now global pool of the resources, a positive level is oceans and its resources, forests and its resources, minerals and its resources, how it's going to be used. This is another important component of environment and health. Another component is a little bit of a scary component is a crime. The global crime is increasing up. And the global crime is a soft and hard crime. A terrorist is attacking something with a flight or something is one. A terrorist groups are having a lot of guns and other things, killing the people is another one. And a white collar and soft crimes are that simply they will take away your, without knowing about your credit cards and debit cards, transfer of the money without you knowing about from your bank accounts, stealing of your passwords, etc., stealing of some other files and transferring to a multinational corporations from the government level. Defense important files transfer to other country and selling the things. This is a different type of aspect has come because of the international crime also has increased. The another important aspect of these type of issues are now a global population, a good section of the society now moving very fast. For jobs, like after corporate companies are coming all over the world, a software companies and going from one place to another place. People are going from one place to another place. A global people, a rich countries are remaining rich, and the rich resources from the developing countries are going to there, and other important aspects. Information revolution is another important factor of the Globalization III, Internet and World Wide Web. And now we are having Internet, different type of things. Instant dispersal of the news information and personalized communications, etc. They are also dominating. But ultimately, who manages this globalization? How it is going to affect a common man? How its effect on our administrative systems? These are the important aspects for us. Now, who manages the globalization? Why are we talking about a global people, global language, globalization? Is it the United Nations are going to take a decision and going to do that one? No. According to any rule, United Nations does not make a law related to an independent country. Then how it's happening? Now the important aspect happening is that the global corporations, they are establishing their own things in each and every country. They are dictating terms to the governments. Because people want an efficient things. And global companies are showing that they are going to provide this much of efficiency. Now we can see for example, you go for mobiles, take it about the names aside because everybody is using Apple phones and Samsung phones and LG phones, etc. phones. The people immediately want that one and they are going for it. In that competition, some of the phones are out where previously Nokia was dominating a lot. Now the Nokia's complete thing has come down. So, etc. You see that who manages this globalization? Once we are following information, once we are following this type of networking systems, everything, you have to follow global corporations and their instruments and everything.